so strong, girl. I can feel it.
Yo, how y'all doing, man? How y'all doing? Welcome in. Welcome in. Happy Monday. Or not even Monday. I'm tripping. Happy Wednesday. That's like the weekend. Happy Wednesday. How y'all doing, man? My days is all fucked up. How y'all doing? The finals is upon us, baby. The finals is upon us. We're almost there, man. We got some stuff to talk about today, baby. How y'all doing? Yo. How's everybody doing, man? Why's my fan not on? Hold up.
Tell me now how you want. Tell me now how you want.
All right, let's get into it, baby. Let's go. Welcome to another episode of the Jayson Estrera podcast, where we talk about basketball as accurate as possible. Now, we are going to be previewing the NBA Finals the whole episode today, pretty much. But before we get into that, there was a bombshell that got dropped, right? In the middle of everything happening, right? We got a bomb that got dropped on us, and it was something that, you know, I don't want to say that no one was expecting it, because I don't think that's true at all. But I will say, for it to happen so soon was it was surprising, and that's obviously Tom Thibodeau, the New York Knicks head coach, got fired. And everyone is talking about who are they going to hire. And I think that there's a couple of requirements in order to fill this role as the New York Knicks head coach. Number one, right? Number one, you got to know and understand your players. We have a very good roster. We have to know and understand our players and what they do well, and more importantly, what they don't do well. You need someone that's going to listen, adapt, and adjust. And, you know, I hear that there's one candidate, right? I hear that there's one candidate. And from what I'm hearing, this person's best attribute is that they work too hard. And this person's worst attribute is that they care too much. Listen, man, the New York Knicks need to hire me. We just gonna cut to the chase. I got my suit on for a reason, man. The New York Knicks need to hire me as their head coach, because listen, I said it on Monday's episode. Tom Thibodeau is supposed to be a defensive head coach. And what we lacked the most, in my opinion, was defense. And it wasn't even a matter of Indiana being this supernatural, once in a lifetime type of team. We were just breaking down for no reason, it felt like, half the time. And I think that what the New York Knicks need is, number one, someone that can relate to the guys. I think in this modern NBA, that seems to be something that gets brought up a lot, right? Whether it's former players or analysts talking about the age of these new teams. So I think getting a younger head coach that can relate to the players, but also relay the same type of information that these older veteran coaches have, but just relay it to a 20, 22, 23-year-old, relay it to them in a way that they can digest and understand, right? I think we're kind of hitting a wall in the NBA right now where you have some of these established head coaches who are older, who are used to running things a certain way, who are used to getting a certain type of reaction out of people, are having a tough time adjusting to the younger generation of players that have come in and take over the NBA. And what we're seeing right now is a turnover, right? That's why we're seeing an Ime Udoka have some success, because he's a little bit younger. He played in the league. I think he can speak and relate to these guys in a way that other coaches aren't able to do so. And so looking at this head coaching position for the New York Knicks, my priority, if I'm the Knicks organization in choosing a head coach, is I want a head coach that's, one, going to really preach defense, but two, someone that's really going to implement it. And I gotta be honest, there isn't a list of head coaches that really come to mind, and I think that's the problem with this situation, right? Everyone keeps bringing up the Mark Jackson, Steve Kerr transition. Well, there isn't a Steve Kerr that's on the table right now. There isn't a Steve Kerr type of head coach that's out there. That person is already working for the Los Angeles Lakers, right? This happened a year ago for them already, where the Steve Kerr type of player, the younger, innovative head coach, that was last year when with Steve with JJ Redick. And so right now, I don't know who that guy is. Some people are saying Michael Malone. By all accounts, he had issues in Denver as well too. And if the reports are true that he was favoring Jokic and Jamal Murray and even Russell Westbrook when he got there, I wouldn't imagine anything different if he were the head coach of the New York Knicks. And I don't know if he is going to fix our defensive problems, because he wasn't fixing the Denver Nuggets defensive problems earlier this year. They've struggled on defense all year. So there's a lot of questions. My dad was talking to me about, what if they hire Sam Cassell? And honestly, it's a really out of the box idea, but I actually really like it. Now, if you hire Sam Cassell, for example, or if you figure a way to get him out of Boston and hire him, the game plan would have to be, in my opinion, a 4 to 6 year game plan, because it would be his first head coaching experience. So you could basically throw year one away, right? It's a lot of growing pains and him adjusting to his style of head coaching, but also to the team. Then going into year 2 where he has more under his belt and the team is a little bit more comfortable, that's when you really start to grade him as a head coach. But the way we've seen head coaches get fired left and right, I don't know if that's a feasible situation to bring in a head coach and say, we'll give you 4 to 6 years. I have questions about this roster, the way that it's presently constructed. So there could be a lot of changes to the New York Knicks. I did say, I think our number one priority is we need a defensive leader. We have great one-on-one defenders when it comes to OG Anunoby, Mikal Bridges, and even Mitchell Robinson. But none of those guys are the vocal leaders that can put people in place, right? There's a matter of where you gotta hammer home some of these principles, some of these rules that you have on defense. But another part in it is you need a head coach on the floor, right? You need someone out there on the floor to constantly remind the other 4 guys of their assignments, of where they need to be, of relaying what they see on defense to everyone else. Because I've mentioned this before, right? Someone like Draymond Green is a great defender. I think he's a really, really great one-on-one defender. If he is consistently on the ball playing defense, I think you take away half of his superpowers. And I say that to say a lot of what Draymond Green does on defense that doesn't show up on the stat sheet is directing, is reading the defense and telling people where to go. That blows up plays. I broke down the other night. Tyrese Halliburton had a high pick and roll, was going downhill against Karl Anthony Towns and Mikal Bridges, and OG Anunoby, under no pressure at all, dropped pretty much to the paint. If he would have just stayed at the nail, or someone would have told him to stay at the nail, it would have prevented the wide open 3 at the top of the key for Miles Turner. But it's little things like that where guys are just out of position, and by being in the right spot, it's already good defense. And that's something that individuals and teams need to understand. But that's what we really need right now. That is truly, truly what we need if you're the New York Knicks. So, I get that there's a lot of raised eyebrows when it comes to this firing, right? Because it's their first Eastern Conference Finals in 25 years. They were in the playoffs 4 of the 5 years that he's been here. Consecutive 50-plus win seasons for the first time since the 90s. So some of those stats would say, yeah, Tom Thibodeau maybe shouldn't have been fired. But at the same time, I never felt like he was the championship head coach that we needed. So there's that. You made the Knicks fire Thibs. The new coach better get them to the finals next season. Listen, I was never a big fan of Tom Thibodeau. I was never a big fan of him. Oh man, that's funny. That's funny, Bruce. How you doing? That's funny. Not a fan of the dude, but his 6-string hair, he was working hard. Hello. And listen, you're not wrong. Like, this guy was for sure working hard, right? But working hard and being effective are also two different things. And this series against the Indiana Pacers, like I don't want to take anything away from them, but we beat ourselves in this series, right? The New York Knicks beat themselves in this series. We should be in the NBA Finals, and I know people don't want to talk about what ifs, but we broke down on Monday how many times on defense the Knicks broke down. And then on offense, they were literally giving them the ball, literally giving them the basketball. And, you know, at the end of the day, to me, that lies on the players, but also on the coach. Like that's really what it comes down to. The GM needs to be fired. Did he get a bench? Mikal Bridges for 6 picks. Thibs did not miss all those free throws. Yeah, but our defense has been poor all season long. It bit us in the ass in this series. But I mean, you know this, Bruce. You've been with us all year. I was not a fan of our defense at all year. And as a guy who's supposed to be a defensive head coach, if you aren't making us a top 5, top 3 defense consistently, and that's supposed to be your strength, then what are we doing? Thibs did not make all those turnovers. Cat got Thibs fired twice. Oh, I didn't even think of that part. He was a part of it twice. You know, the Mikal Bridges one definitely hurts. I'm not gonna lie to you. He's definitely a really solid player. He's definitely a good NBA player, but I don't think he's quite the player that we need. He's just not quite the player that we need. And listen, I totally get what you're saying. Thibs can't make Brunson and Cat better defenders, but I do really believe in you coaching guys to be in the right spots and to be in the right position. I truly believe that that's something you can coach. For guys to rotate together. Like the Oklahoma City Thunder, and we'll talk about them in just a second. The way they play defense, that's not just them doing that. The way that they all move in unison, the way that they all move towards the ball, the way they rotate, like that's not something that you just do on your own. That's something that gets hammered home since training camp. When you see them staying home on certain guys, the way they played Jokic, allowing him to score 40, making sure he didn't get any more than 4 or 5 assists. Like, these are things that their discipline on defense, I think, has everything to do with coaching. And their IQ is what elevates it, because now, scenario to scenario, they're able to read it. But the discipline that they have, I think, comes from the coach. And we were really lacking that as the Knicks. Brunson was being hunted like 68% of the time. And listen, like, I'm one of those people, and I you know, in the playoffs, you obviously don't want to throw away games. But we saw the Oklahoma City Thunder withstand a 40-point game out of Jokic. At some point, if the Indiana Pacers want to keep picking on Jalen Brunson, let that person keep scoring. Make sure no one else scores. Make sure the high-powered offense that relies on everyone touching the basketball, everyone getting shots, if you can force them to go down the court and get one basket every time, that's a plus. That's a win. But you know, we never made any of those adjustments. We never forced the Indiana Pacers one way or the other. We were constantly reacting to them as opposed to forcing them in a scenario or in a situation, which really it leads me to this, right, which is the preview to the Oklahoma City Thunder versus the Indiana Pacers. And I gotta admit, I've watched some stuff on these guys, right? On just picks that people had, who people think is gonna win or lose or whatnot. And to me, a lot of people are talking about the matchup. A lot of people are talking about styles. And what you will constantly hear is we have a historically great defense against an extremely hot offense. That's sort of the gist of what we'll keep hearing. And everyone is talking it up. And to me, it feels like they're trying to sell everyone on this series. Because, number one, the two cities. We're talking about Oklahoma City and Indiana, right? No major market. So that's a topic of conversation, and the way the ratings are going to go down and so on and so forth. So that's number one. But number two, it feels like they're trying to sell us on the fact that this is going to be a close series. And personally, I don't see it. I was watching Lou Williams and Chandler Parsons make their picks and break down this entire series. And Lou Williams probably spoke, it felt like 10 minutes, but it was probably closer to 5. And he talked about the two cities. He talked about the two styles. And then slipped in there that he has the Thunder winning in 5 games. So he doesn't think it's going to be a great series. He thinks it's a 4-1. Like he said 5 games as if to like try to fool a couple people. He thinks it's a 4-1. And I think it's going to be the same thing. I think the Thunder win this 4-1. And it's not that I don't think the Pacers are good. I just think that they can limit the things that the Pacers do well. It's funny you say that, Bruce. Thinking that the Pacers cannot win the series is crazy. Carlisle coached a team that no one gave a shot against the Heat. I thought the Mavs had no shot. Thunder coach is good, but he has no experience yet. I'm glad you brought up the Dallas Mavericks. Are you talking about the Mavs last year? Or are you talking about the Mavs against the Heat? Because this series, to me, feels like the Celtics Mavericks game series last year. That's how it feels to me. The Thunder being Boston and the Pacers being the Mavericks. That's how this series feels like to me. This feels like the Oklahoma City Thunder should get this done. And I thought about that. I genuinely thought about the Dallas Mavericks against the Miami Heat. I was thinking about that. But, Bruce, you have no faith in Pascal Siakam. So, Are you expecting Tyrese Halliburton to have the NBA Finals, a historic NBA Finals? Because that's what Dirk Nowitzki did. And I'm very comfortable in saying, at least in this Knicks Pacer series, we beat ourselves. And I don't expect the Oklahoma City Thunder to do the same thing. Luka muffin eating, beer drinking, got the Mavs losing the finals. Yeah, but there's not a single player on the Indiana Pacers that's on the level of Luka last year or Dirk Nowitzki against the Miami Heat in the finals. They just don't have a player at that level. They just don't. And we've seen Halliburton go up and down the series. You could, walking up to the arena, you might as well punch Shea for 30. It's just a matter of how much over 30 he's going to get. But you can book him for 30. And, you know, I truly think that the Oklahoma City Thunder got this. And listen, let's take a look at this, because this is, I think, where is this? Where is this? Because we've talked about defense a lot, right? We've talked about defense a lot today, and it's been the whole year. Tyrese Halliburton is gonna have to understand what the Oklahoma City Thunder, what their goals are on defense, right? So when you look at this play, he gets right around the corner. Everyone stays home. Everyone, for the most part, stays home because Lou Dort is on Tyrese Halliburton, right? And he gets a great shot in, right? That's a great high consistency shot. If you look at this, it wasn't until 5:34 in the third when Halliburton actually attempted a layup in this game, right? On 3:29-2025. Everything was a jump shot up until then. And this is, to me, what makes the Oklahoma City Thunder different. I believe that the Oklahoma City Thunder, their goal on defense is not the same as everyone else's. Their success, or whether they count themselves winning or losing a possession, doesn't hinge on whether or not the other team scores or misses. And I think that's what makes them different, and that's what makes them consistent. Honestly, a lot of teams and a lot of individual defenders could learn from how they are on defense. Because if you are consistently taking a shot that they want you to take, meaning the Oklahoma City Thunder, they can live with that. And, you know, in this particular game, Tyrese Halliburton started by making 2 jumpers. Right? He started by making 2 jumpers. They hit him with an early zone. He found a spot.
Halliburton,
semi-contested, and they live with it.
Too short on the baby hook.
And they literally play the numbers because they say, if you're not getting downhill, if Tyrese Halliburton is not getting downhill, that works in our favor because he's not getting layups, he's not getting dunks, and most importantly, he's not getting assists. So in this game where all of these plays are coming from, Halliburton ended up with 3 assists on the game. 6 of 12 from the field, 4 of 9 shooting from 3 for 18 points. So a good shooting night, but 3 assists. It's when he's getting his 20, 22 to go with 10, 11, 12 assists is when he becomes extremely dangerous, right? It's when he becomes extremely dangerous. And so, you know, a part of what the Oklahoma City Thunder do, the physicality, all of that stuff is a part of it. I think what they do really great is they have certain rules on defense. They're not going to let anyone get in the paint. They're not going to let them live in the paint. So if you're a Siakam, if you're a Tyrese Halliburton, if you're going to step outside and settle for 3-point shots, we can live with that. And we saw how they've defended Jokic, where we can live with Caruso, Chet, Hartenstein, Jalen Williams, whoever it is playing one-on-one defense with him, will stay home on everybody. And I think for Tyrese Halliburton, that's why I thought this play was actually really, really important. We'll go back to it. Is he needs to recognize early in games that they're going to give him shots and they're going to stay home, so they prevent this offense to really get going. Because if Hallie's getting shots up and driving, he's kicking it out, that's when the Indiana Pacers are extremely dangerous. So I think if you're Tyrese Halliburton, anytime someone's in a closeout situation, you need to attack, because these guys are going to help, but not really. They're going to trust Lou Dort. They're going to trust Alex Caruso, Shea, Jalen Williams, whoever it is that's on him. The Oklahoma City Thunder are going to trust that that player is going to do their best on defense and stay home to prevent kickouts and all of these threes and the team's going crazy. So I think that's step one if you're the Indiana Pacers, right? Tyrese Halliburton, he needs to come out shooting. He needs to come out trying to get to the basket. If he does that instead of looking to pass first, right, he forces the defense to overextend to him and then he can get everybody involved. I think that's the best route for them to go with. The other his duo is obviously Pascal Siakam. And for Siakam in this particular game, it was the same. It was a lot of jump shots. They're almost not being overly physical with Siakam and Halliburton, oddly enough, in some of these scenarios, because you got to play that cat and mouse, right? Tyrese Halliburton is so good at stopping and going that you almost kind of got to give him that cushion, knowing he's going to go to his step back or he's going to go to his side step, and you can live with that shot, as opposed to him getting to his in and out, his stop and go, and getting to the lane. And Siakam is the same thing. If you could keep him at bay and force him to settle for jump shots.
A downhill attack by J-Dub, but do you allow,
like you see in this situation right here, they're not really contesting it.
that dunk, as you just saw?
They'll get out enough to try to contest it, but they'll
Nice
live.
to see that connection get going again.
They'll live with this.
After J-Dub missed.
And you know, if you're the Oklahoma City Thunder and you can prevent the Pacers from getting good shots, because against the Knicks, they got a lot of good shots. You know, those fast break opportunities off makes, they're not going to get a lot of those. Excuse me, those turnovers that you know, Hart, that Cat got, they're not going to get a lot of those with Shea handling the ball the way that he does and taking his time the way that he does. So I think this isn't a great matchup for the Indiana Pacers. I will say the person I am looking for that I think could potentially break them out of some of this is Andrew Nembhard. And I've brought his name up before, right? I've been big on Andrew Nembhard before, but he is the only guy on this team that I see comfortably taking this shot consistently. And similar to Tyrese Halliburton, Andrew Nembhard needs to understand and realize that they are going to give him this shot. He's going to come off this pick and roll with Miles Turner. Lou Dort is not going to leave Pascal Siakam wide open. So Nembhard needs to be able to step in this shot and hit it consistently. I think if he does that, it's going to go really well for the Pacers. He is going to get this shot constantly. Right? Hartenstein is going to give this semi-drop because he's reading what Turner's going to do, right? They got to read what Turner's going to do. Is he going to drop? Is he going to stay up? Because then Jalen Williams is probably going to help. Shea is going to stay over here to split the difference, but he's driving in. Nembhard is going to get this shot, and it's going to be on him to take and make this shot in the pick and roll. And again, that's just something that I don't see happening consistently, but I think it's one of those things that can really equalize them, and he can really open stuff up for everybody else. There's the obvious, right? Neesmith has to hit shots. Matherin has to hit shots. Their three-pointers got to go in, but, you know, the Pacers rely on their offense. The Thunder rely on their defense, and they have an offense that maybe isn't super high octane, but it's super consistent. And I'll just bank personally. I would bank on Oklahoma City Thunder's defense game in and game out. You can't control necessarily whether the other team is going to shoot 70% from three, which we've seen happen. And on those nights, you shake the other team's hand, you say good game, and you leave the arena. But otherwise, you're looking at percentages. Tyrese Halliburton is 33% from three in the playoffs, right? 38% from three during the season. We saw PJ Washington have a great series shooting the basketball against the Oklahoma City Thunder. Statistics caught up, and he didn't shoot very well by the NBA Finals. So if I was gonna rely on something, it would be the Oklahoma City Thunder's defense and also Shea's ability to score regardless of what's going on. Right? His mid-range game translate through eras. It translates game to game, defense to defense. I think really the biggest thing to watch is during those times where there is no rhythm in the game, where there is no flow to the offense. Will Shai Gilgeous-Alexander get some of those foul calls? Because it's a really great strategy that great players have, right? If there's nothing going on offense for either of us, and it's just turnovers, missed shots, it's just crazy basketball. You'll see great offensive guys literally go just to get a foul call, just to stop possession. Right? And a lot of times you'll notice, and these are, just little things when you watch the game. Sometimes you'll see the motherfucker walk all the way to half court. Like, I don't know if you ever noticed that, right? But you'll see somebody get fouled under the rim. You'll see that same player sometimes walk all the way to half court, just talking, then walk all the way back to the free throw line, and then they go through their routine. What they're doing is they're just buying time. They're buying time just so everyone can catch a breather. Everyone can reset. The coach can call something. He or someone on the floor can call something. And then you'll see them go on a run after. And so that's something that I would really, really watch during this series, right? If you're Shea, can you stop these crazy Indiana Pacers runs? Because here's the other part too, and I brought this up on Monday. Height is a real serious thing in the NBA. If you're 6'4" or under, you have a 16.07% chance as the best player of your team to lead them to an NBA championship. 16% chance, 16.7% chance. Since 1968-69 to now, 9 out of 56 NBA Finals MVPs have gone to a player 6'4" or under. And I say that to say, I get that the Pacers have dealt with the Milwaukee Bucks, and I get that they've dealt with Donovan Mitchell and Jalen Brunson in the last 2 rounds. None of those guys are Shea. None of those guys are Shea Gilgeous-Alexander. In style of play, in production, in efficiency, it's just none of those guys are Shea. And I think this will just show the level that Shea is at right now. And maybe we just won't recognize it for what it is at the moment. But he's been on an incredible run. And, you know, I've been very critical of him and the Oklahoma City Thunder because I've been saying I got to see it to believe it first, right? But we've seen it, right? We've seen it. Even when Shea has a quote-unquote off night, it's still 28, 29, 30. Like, it's 30 on 43% shooting. Like, those are off nights for him. And so, you know, Indiana can't afford many bad games from Halliburton or Siakam. And I've said it, there is a game or two in every series where Halliburton will give you 8 points and shoot 6 times. We just can't have that. They just can't have that. Yeah, but I don't see Oklahoma City Thunder losing this. Obviously the Pacers could shoot the lights out, but they're gonna do that 4 times in 7 games. I personally just don't see that. And they don't have someone, like I said, that could break them out of the constant pressure that the Thunder are gonna have. The other thing is, people are talking about Lou Dort guarding Halliburton. I wouldn't even be too worried about that, because I think Hartenstein is going to stick Siakam. And if he's not doing a great job, watch Lou Dort guard Pascal Siakam and try to shut him down. Trust me, if it's not Hartenstein, it's going to be Lou Dort. And it might just be one of those situations where they bring Alex Caruso in early to literally guard Tyrese Halliburton, and now you can sort of let Shea and Jalen Williams rest on defense and go on offense and go crazy. So there's so many looks that they can give Chet and Hartenstein, I think, can match up pretty well with Siakam and Turner. Pacers in 6. I know you think I'm bugging, Bruce, but I think you're bugging. Pacers in 6 is crazy. I don't see no way in hell the Pacers win in 6. Hey, he did a solid job last year, but listen, man. They might put Lou Dort, and it might get scary for Siakam, man. Like, yeah, it might get scary, dog. It might get scary. Listen, I think there's so many different things that they could do. They could box in one, the Pacers. Have Alex Caruso chase Tyrese Halliburton, box in one, just so they could stop Siakam, and prevent everybody else. I think there's a lot that they could do. I think there's a lot that they could do, man. Jokic couldn't stop these fools. I don't see anybody else that could. Like Jokic was doing everything in his power to try to beat these guys, and it wasn't enough. It wasn't enough. And you know, in the following series, I thought Anthony Edwards was gonna be somebody who he ended up not being, right? It wasn't Anthony Edwards that showed up in that series. It was just Anthony. Julius Randle, JR didn't show up in that series. It was just Julius. So, you know, the Thunder played against Anthony and Julius. Who they played against, bro. Like, I don't know what happened to those guys. And I think a lot of it had to do with the defense that the Thunder was playing, man. And so I think they'll be able to do the same to the Indiana Pacers. But the question is, either way, do you guys think it would be good to try to copy these two teams moving forward? Right? We know that the NBA is a copycat league. Everybody wants to copy the new hot thing. But will teams look at the Oklahoma City Thunder and look at the Indiana Pacers and try to copy what they have? And I would love to see it happen, because I do agree with the media that it's really great that we have two different styles of play in the NBA Finals. Right? We have a super defensive-minded team in the Thunder that is led on offense by probably the most efficient scorer that we have in the NBA. And then you have an Indiana Pacers team that essentially plays hot potato on offense, and their defense kind of feeds off of it. And I think what makes the Indiana Pacers fun to watch is they can neutralize a lot of deficiencies. And what I mean by that is the ball moves so much with the Pacers. Even if you're not a great one-on-one offensive player, if you get to attack someone on a closeout, meaning someone's rotating over to you, if they were the low man, they got to rotate to the three-point line. It's easy to beat that guy. You don't need a dribble move. You damn near don't even need a pump fake if they're running full speed at you. Right? So the Indiana Pacers do a great job of constantly putting the other team in closeout situations, which neutralizes you as a defender. Right? It don't really matter how great of a defender you are if you are sprinting at an offensive player and you're guessing if they're going to shoot, are they going to pump fake, are they going to jab? Like that really puts you at a disadvantage. Right? So if the Indiana Pacers can force the Oklahoma City Thunder in scramble mode, right? That's when you get Obi Toppin to look like freaking like Kevin Durant out there. That's how you get a Aaron Nesmith to look like freaking Steph Curry out there. Like, that's how this happens, because you're forcing the other team in closeout situations, and now I get to attack them. One dribble, two dribble, pull up, just shoot it, drive all the way to the basket. So that's why I think it's going to be super important for Tyrese Halliburton to really get downhill, right? I would almost tell Tyrese Halliburton, you're not allowed to shoot a 3-point shot until, one, you get 2 layups, or you get a couple assists. But I need you to be attacking and getting 1 foot in the paint every possession, because now that takes away how good of a one-on-one defender Lou Dort is, or Caruso, or Chet, or Jalen. Like, they just have so many defenders on OKC. So that, that's what they'll have to do, and I think they can be successful if they're able to do that. That's how basketball should be played: create advantages, then execute on them. iHeart better not being dropped. That's all I'm gonna say. Pascal shooting 50% from 3 in the playoffs. Now, my counter to you, Black Canadian, right? My counter to that is, if Pascal goes and gets 35, 40, but the rest of the guys aren't getting shots, because we saw what happened with the Denver Nuggets, right? We saw what they did with Jokic, where game to game it was almost as if, all right, we're either gonna let you go and score 40 but make sure you get less than 4 assists, or we're gonna play hounding defense on you. So what if they let Pascal go and score but nobody else is eating? Do they win that game or do they lose that game? I think chances are they probably lose a game like that, right? Yeah, Pascal, one-on-one defense won't face Indy. Raps fan, yo, this man asked twice. It's Raptors takeover, man. Denver doesn't play with enough movement. I hear you. Indy moves way too much off the ball. I do think too, what we've seen is, and this is something that I was super critical of the Knicks, is we see guys moving too much on defense, right? We'll see guys reacting to things when they don't need to. And I think, like I said, I think the Oklahoma City Thunder are a super disciplined team. If their game plan is to stay at home on certain people, they'll do it. If their game plan is to help, they'll do it. And I think they adjust accordingly. So whatever that game plan is, I think they'll be able to execute it. And they were able to withstand some strong performances by Indy in the regular season. That one game, Indy was on fire through the first quarter, and they came back and beat them. So we'll see what happens. The league would not be the league without us. I'm dead. This doesn't come down to one-on-one. This is a series of help. I'm more concerned about OKC's offense than Indy, to be honest. No one creates true gravity other than Shea. Yeah, but you could bank him in every series, though. Like, I feel like when it comes to Tyrese Halliburton and even Pascal Siakam, game to game, you don't really know what you're going to get sometimes. And they've been great on this run, but, Halliburton is liable to shoot only 6 times in a game. Like, you're never going to get that out of Shea. You know what you're going to get out of Shea. And I think if they put small defenders, like, I don't think TJ McConnell can play that much in this series, because I think Shea and J-Dub are going to punish him. So you're going to need more minutes out of Mathurin and Shepherd, I think, because I think they'll punish, they'll really punish TJ McConnell. So we'll see. Oh, and I'm split right down the middle because Shea is my aunt's grandson. What? If Shea averages 27 instead of 31, OKC loses. Yeah, I don't think he's averaging 27. I don't think he averages. Yeah, I don't think that's happening. In his 2 games, what is this? In his 2 games against the Pacers this year, it was 33 and 45. Like I'm not saying he's gonna average that, but I don't think he's averaging 27. I don't. Who's guarding him 1-on-1? Nemhard's gonna be too small. I think he's gonna be too crafty for Neesmith or Mathurin. Yeah, I don't think they could play TJ that much, and Indiana feeds off of TJ McConnell. So if TJ's not a part of, if he's not able to make an impact, they're losing a big piece right there. But yeah, I mean, like I said, I mean, if the Pacers are shooting lights out, I just don't see it. I just don't see it. I think the Thunder are gonna be comfortable with being able to guard Halliburton 1-on-1 and stay at home on everyone else. OKC will have to shrink the rotation. Hell no. You think TJ is gonna have an impact in this series? I think he would be a matchup disadvantage. Who would he guard on OKC? Because I think that would be a situation where you'll see Jalen Williams and Shea hunt him down. If he ends up on Lou Dort, I think Lou Dort will back his ass down too. Because of his leverage advantage, same way as he did against the Knicks. Who TJ did? TJ was in there to irritate Jalen Brunson. And he's done a great job of it the last 2 years. Like, I hate seeing TJ when he walk in. Yo, that's when your Raptors fan comes before. Wait, did you just choose? You just choose Raptors loyalty over your country? You just choose the Raptors over your country? I just want a Pascal Finals MVP shake and get his later LMAO. He's going to be there in limited spurts. Hey, I do love... Hey, listen, you got to tell, because Bruce did not believe in Pascal. Bruce did not believe in Pascal, man. You got to tell Brucey up there. Right, Elijah? We was telling him. The thing that pisses me off about Pascal Siakam is when he doesn't attempt more shots. I'm like, dude, you are so good. Like, you need to be aggressive. It's, to me, when it feels like he's allergic. I've said this before. When Siakam looks like he's allergic to taking more than 15 shots is when they really suffer. But when he's on, he is so hard to stop. He's so hard to stop, man. So hard. I told Shay to his face, LMAO. Raptors over everything else NBA. I've always been a huge Pascal fan. He's a literacy test for NBA fans. LMAO. Yo, isn't it funny? I feel like, maybe it's the same for sports in general, but I feel like us NBA fans, we always grow to love, like really love, sometimes not even the best player, like the second best player, the third best player, the hustle guy off the bench. For some reason, I feel like we always gravitate to those guys. That is facts. He will not shoot you out a game. That is facts. He will not shoot you out a game. I just think Siakam is so good that he is you can afford some of those quote unquote bad shots, right? In hopes of generating offense, especially when you can only play hot potato basketball so long during a game, right? At some point things are going to break down and someone's going to have to generate offense from nothing. And when you're the Indiana Pacers, really the two guys that can really score off a triple threat, in my opinion, is Pascal Siakam and Andrew Nembhard. Like, those are the two guys that can look a defender in the eye one-on-one and try to get a bucket. Halliburton can do it when you give him space and he's able to like go side to side. He can really score. But those are the two guys, like I said, who I think can really go and get you a bucket in one-on-one scenarios. So they're gonna be huge for them. I love him since Giants of Africa, no lie. I'm going back on my propaganda tour from a few years ago. Pascal top 5. He just needs to catch the ball in his spots instead of dribbling to it more often. That's coaching. Pascal been top 5. Everyone quick to drink the Kool-Aid. He is a mismatch nightmare for everyone. He always plays up or plays up or outplays competition. I mean, Draymond just said the other day he felt like the only matchup he lost in a series was to Siakam. And if honestly, like the way Draymond said it, Draymond don't value just scoring. And thank you for the sub, by the way, Black Canadian. Thank you for the sub. I appreciate that. But Draymond don't just value scoring. So to say that he felt like he lost his matchup to Pascal Siakam should go to tell you how much he impacts a game. And obviously I'm honing in on his offense because he is their top scorer on the team, right? He is the guy that can get you 28 to 30, pretty consistently, right? Halliburton, I think, it's game to game, right? But Siakam, like I said, could generate from nothing. And so that's why there's such a emphasis on Siakam scoring, but he does so much. And when his three ball is going down, forget about it. Dude is unstoppable when his three ball is going down. I remember since the 2020 season when he was head to head against all big, specifically AD, he always beat them. Exactly. He's a true two-way. Just look at the jail cell he put Cat in. Listen, man, Karl Anthony Towns bought a car with no brakes. I don't want to hear it. Karl Anthony Towns is a car going 70 miles per hour on the highway with no brakes. I don't want to hear it. Dog, the amount of times I see Cat like, yo, you could just turn over your shoulder and like this guy can't block your shot even if they tried. Like I'm looking at him like, yo, when you back him down, like you could just turn and shoot. Like you don't gotta. He be doing the most. I feel like he post up then try to do a Euro step. Like, bro, that shit be getting on my nerves. Oh my God, bro. Listen, Cat, call me. We could work on it. You bring the ball down too. Like mad shit we could do differently, man. Hey, man. LMAO. Arenas was wild about Cat today. I'm gonna have to check that out. He and Audi in the 90s. Pascal pimpin'. Yo, what the fuck? He plays COD with Cat. He trash at that too. I'm not a big fan of how Cat plays, but people been disrespecting the dude. He has the game, but he making his plays harder. This is the thing about Karl Anthony Towns. I think it's unbelievable he scores the way that he does. Despite all of the shit that he does wrong, he somehow ends up with 28 and 12. It's really impressive if you think about it, with like the amount of shit that he does that makes you scratch your head. And then you look at the box sheet, like he got 38? Like what? So it's almost one of those things where, like, if you could just tune his game just a little bit, his footwork just a little bit, just a couple tweaks, and I'm telling you, Cat would be out of this world. Out of this world. Man, Cat in college was way better than now. He has no motor anymore. He plays with no energy. It's so frustrating to watch. Okay. And honestly, I wasn't gonna bring this up. Do y'all think Cat needs to lose a little bit of weight? He looks a little top heavy to me, no? Like maybe he would have a little bit more energy, a little bit more of a motor, some of the quickness, if he just, dropped like 15 pounds, 20 pounds, because he's playing out in the perimeter anyway. I don't know, just a thought. He just needs a different brain. He like Jason Tatum. Oh man, Cat needs Patrick Beverly's brain. I mean, we've heard about this conversation, but do you guys think that's a product of just how they are naturally, or we've heard about the Boston Celtics, right? Everything 3-point. We've heard about how the Minnesota Timberwolves have been operating the same. When it comes to analytics, everybody got to shoot threes. So do you think that their mindset, talking about Tatum and Cat, is a product of those situations and this style of play being ingrained into them? And now we have, obviously, what we see now. People complain about Cat, in my opinion, until you play against someone like him. Then it's let him cook. Some people just are who they are. He picks and chooses when to be a threat. 5 people here and 2 likes. Come on, guys. I appreciate you, Bruce. Been playing ball all my life. I promise you that mindset is everything. Dude can tell you the right thing to do, but a dog will figure out how to make it easier. I mean, I get what you're saying to an extent. I do just believe that these other things are a factor, right? Even Kevin Durant, who tries not to shoot as many threes, right? He talks about coaches constantly encouraging them to shoot threes. When you get on the, they talk about their whiteboards, the amount of threes the people are supposed to shoot, so on and so forth. So I do think a part of it gets ingrained into them, unfortunately. I mean, we've seen even like a Drew Holiday fucking passing up on layups for threes. It's all over the NBA, making the unnatural basketball play, which is where some of the complaints come from when we're watching it, right? Because we're watching like, why the fuck ain't you dunk that? Why ain't you lay the ball up? Like, why you gotta make this game a lot more difficult than it is? The in-between game matters because it makes you harder to guard. You know what's really funny? It's funny you bring that up. Just to bring this back to the finals. The ironic thing about the Oklahoma City Thunder, because I think their main goal is to not allow players in the paint, right? No players at the rim, no layups. That's like their number one goal, because I think they believe they can get out to shooters. So when you see them, on defense to the paint, they're physical, but they almost shadow you because they're trying to just get a good contest up at the paint to try to get you to, make a bad play, force a bad shot. The ironic thing is, I think someone like a Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, if he was playing against the Thunder, I think he would actually kill them on defense. The way he'd be able to bump everyone off and get comfortable shots in the mid-range, and that would now force everyone to overextend, backdoor cuts, opposite corner threes. Like, it's funny, but I think Shai would actually be the style of player that would destroy the Oklahoma City Thunder. But there's only, you know, there aren't really any of those around the league. So the in between games, because it makes hard. The players that get brainwashed, to me, just expose themselves. You can say mindset, but majority of the league can't handle Cat. So it's not that this mentality people speak of. To be honest, most of Cat's points are random, untimely shots. He's a great shooter, which is true, and that's how he gets the bulk of his points. He also plays exclusively drop coverage, which is why he's always near the rim for a board. I mean, yeah, I think you guys are both right. You know, I think Cat, to Cat's credit, right? Because I've obviously watched the Knicks all year. It's not even necessarily that it's, I mean, I guess it is random, but at least for the Knicks, they don't really run stuff for him, right? He's getting his shots if there's a kick out opportunity, if they put 2 on the ball on the pick and roll with Brunson, his trailing threes, but otherwise he's catching it, making a read. If they're coming up hard, he pump fakes and drives, and that's why I said, you know, he's a card that got no breaks, but he's also really good at finishing the basketball, right? I think if Cat could figure out a way to use his 2 feet, it's weird. It's like once he starts going, he can only take fucking big steps. I wish he would take the, you know, Cat on the catch, pump fake, take 1 or 2 dribbles, body that person off like Shea kind of does as a big, but, you know, and get a comfortable mid-range shot, because his jump shot is so good. But they don't really run anything for him, and I think that's a part of the problem. That's what I was talking about all playoffs long, right? You know Brunson's gonna get his shots. You have to make a conscious effort to include Karl Anthony Towns, because to your point, he gets his sporadically, right? You have to intentionally look for him and create situations for him. But that's why we're where we are. That's why we're where we are, right? And even with all that being said, we still should have beat the Indiana Pacers, man. I stand by it. We beat ourselves. Those guys did not beat us. The Knicks don't play basketball. Their offense opens up after an offensive rebound. They'd get swept by OKC. They play rec ball. I got a question for you, Black Canadian. Do you know Elijah or Bruce? Do you know Elijah or Bruce? Because you seem to be fitting right in with this I'ma hate New York shit, because that's what I've had to deal with all year with these two. Like, this is what they've done to me all year. And my dumbass fan brain keeps falling for it too, because, like, you know, we start winning. Things are looking good. I start getting hopeful, even though in the back of my mind, I'm like, shit still ain't right. But listen, man, I get you. Like, I truly believe, our bench was not nearly as bad as everyone made it out to be. They just didn't play. Like, they just didn't play. They didn't get enough minutes, because I think Tom Thibodeau is so big on mistakes sometimes that he pulls guys really quickly instead of allowing them to play through it. And when you got guys like Campaign, Precious Achua, Landry Shamet, who was in and out of our team this year, like, you need to give those guys room to play so that they can have moments. I mean, we've seen that comeback against Detroit in the first round, the massive comeback. We don't win that if it weren't for Campaign. And mistakes are a part of the game, right? Like it's a literal They're going to happen. They're a part of the game. But you also got to take the good with the bad. I was going back and forth with my dad the other day because he fucking hates Josh Hart sometimes. Like, absolutely hates the shit that Josh Hart does. Some of the turnovers, some of the shots, he hates it. But I go, Dad, like, he plays at 1,000 miles per hour. He plays at such an effort, right? And if you think about it like video games, right? When you turn up certain sliders, other ones go down. With pros come certain cons. He can't be the high octane hustle, effort guy, and also be the methodical, super high IQ player. Most of the time, those two things don't go hand in hand. So you got to take the good with the bad. It's just a part of it. But, you know, it's just a matter of trying. I think that's why I said I think coaching comes with minimizing some of those mistakes, and the rest of it is just basketball, right? That's what frustrated me about the Knicks series. We needed to limit the unforced turnovers, the unforced mistakes on defense, because the rest of it is just going to be basketball, right? But shit, man. You never win games like that without a bench. You'll never have the gas. Josh Hart plays like he's in jail. I thought we had a real good team, man. And I know they'll cook us still. I thought we still had a real good team. What did you say? You said something about I feel like you said something about Brunson. You can't win with Brunson as your only option. It's funny you said that, Black Canadian, because I was speaking on Monday about how, and I still have the stat here. Since 1968 to 1969 season to now, those are 56 NBA Finals MVPs. Only 9 of them have been 6'4" or under. That's 16.07%. And so, by that statistic, if you are the New York Knicks and our best player is Jalen Brunson, those numbers aren't in our favor, right? Those numbers say you will go as far as Karl Anthony Towns will take you. And if you don't think that, then obviously it's the belief that Jalen Brunson is an anomaly and is the exception to that statistic. But when we're dealing with history, that the reality is bigs have ran the championships, or you have to be, you know, a super talented athletic wing type of player to win consistently, like we've seen with, you know, Kobe, Jordan, Bron, and so on and so forth. But oh man, there's a lot going on, dog. I had to hop off for a second, but firing Thibs seems like crazy work. Like, teams fire people who do well and hire Doc Rivers. You need to be phenomenal to drive a championship as a 1 or a 2. I agree, but the 1 is different from what it used to be, right? The 1 position now are, you know, now you could be 6'6" and up as a score, you know, number 1 scoring option, point guard. Magic, Jordan, Kobe, Steph. There was like Jerry West was like 6'7", 6'6". There's a couple other guys in there. Magic is 6'9", so he's even way above those guys, right? So the people under the 6'4", right, would be Steph, Joe Dumars, Isaiah Thomas, Chauncey Billups, Tony Parker, Dwayne Wade. But yeah, shooting guards, there is also a drop off. It's a lot of centers and power forwards are really what dominates the NBA Finals MVPs. Oh yeah, I was gonna look at the Finals MVPs by the year again as well too. Let's see. Here we can look together. See, Jaylen Brown last year, obviously a wing. Kawhi. Kevin Durant is like a cheat code because he's a wing player, but he's also 7 foot tall, right? Like he's the size of a center, but he's a wing player. Bron, Iggy, Kawhi, Dirk, obviously, Kobe, Paul Pierce. And then it's big. Shaq, Tim Duncan, Jordan, Hakeem, Jordan. And then it was the 2 small guys, Worthy, Magic, Bird, Kareem, Bird, Moses Malone, Maxwell, and so on and so forth. So it was a lot of bigs. A lot of bigs in the history of the NBA. A lot of 4s and a lot of 5s. Right? A lot of 4s and a lot of 5s. And then when you look at even the wing players, right? Wasn't Paul Pierce? Oh no, Paul Pierce was like 6'6", 6'7". But like Kawhi 6'8", 6'9", Bron 6'8", 6'9", Kevin Durant 7 feet, Giannis 7 feet. Yeah, no, that's facts. That's facts. You have to be a historically great player, like a historically like a top 10, top 15 player. And that's what we saw, right? You need a versatile wing like Bron or a great 4 or 5, because even in the situations where, like when Andre Iguodala and Steph was the best player, like, you know, you still had Iggy, Clay, like you still have those guys, Draymond. When Tony Parker won, you still had Tim Duncan, right? When Dwayne Wade won, he still had Shaq, and so on and so forth. So, you know, you need a great 4 or 5 guy. You need a great player at like 6'8", 6'9", and up, you know, coupled with these other guys. No, literally, yeah. That's why, you know, if you're thinking of the composition of a team, for example, right, like the New York Knicks, if you think Jalen Brunson is a top 10, 15 player of all time, then you run that. But we have him and Cat, right? We have 2 great pieces. We just got to surround them better and coach them better, in my opinion. I genuinely believe that. We've seen how great Jalen Brunson can be in the clutch. We've seen how productive Karl Anthony Towns can be. Is just figuring out how to do that in the playoffs, and I think that comes with just surrounding them with better guys and better coaching. But I got who you got winning this championship, Black Canadian. Oh, and I'm curious on this too. Let's use AI to see. Let's see who ChatGPT thinks is gonna win the NBA Finals. Let's see. The Thunder are the heavy favorites. Pacers are heavy underdogs. Yo, that is a sick way to put it. Pascal fans say Indy in 6. Realist says OKC in 6. I said OKC in 5. This is looking like last year's finals to me, man. I think, and listen, I think Indiana is gonna have one of like a legacy series. But the problem with the Thunder is that happened against the Timberwolves, and it didn't mean anything. Quite literally did not mean anything. We saw they were down an insane amount to the Memphis Grizzlies. Didn't mean anything. So I think that's just the scary thing about the Thunder. They play so consistent, game in or game out. And I think going into the playoffs, I had questioned whether or not they would they would stick to that, and they have. So that's really the most surprising thing to me. Tyrese is a huge X factor as well. But isn't that funny, like, to be the quote unquote best player on the team and also be the X factor? Because to me, that means that your play is not consistent enough to where we know what we're going to get out of you game to game. At least that's how it translates to me. I don't know if that's exactly what you meant by it, Black Canadian, but that's how it translates to me. And when you are a star player, I think we need to know what we're going to get out of you game in and game out. AI having the nickname The Answer was great choice, since that everyone ask him everything. India is definitely winning a couple games based off OKC inexperience alone. If the series goes long, I lean towards Indy more. He's an X factor because he's so random with his play style. If the series goes long, you got but the Thunder would have home court advantage going towards the end of the series. Like, he shoots and scores, and I can never tell, honestly. I agree with Jason on Halley X Factor. If he taps into that, it can get scary. We've seen it. Yeah, if he's getting downhill dunking on people, like, that's what we need. Like, if he literally decides, I'm going to dunk on everyone or lay this ball up every single time down, we would see a Tyrese Halliburton, a player we've never fucking seen before. Because his ability to pass and not turn the ball over is unreal. Unreal. And his ability to shoot the basketball from three is also really good. But it's just that one gear, right? Does he make the decision to get in the paint every single time down? And if he does that, they got a real good chance this series. I just don't think he'll do that. If it goes long, it means Pascal is cooking, which means that someone's getting played off the court. Sorry, Obi sound huge X for Obi Toppin is a huge X factor potentially too. He is. He can knock down some threes, get in the lane. I just, like I said, I don't think they're going to. This is what I think the OKC Thunder is going to do. I think they're going to let Tyrese Halliburton run around and do his shit. They're going to load up on Pascal Siakam and try to get out on everybody else and try to stay at home on everyone else. I think that's how the series is going to play out. I don't think Tyrese Halliburton is going to average a ton of assists a game. And that's why I think the Thunder are going to win in 5. Like that's just how I see the series panning out. And by that idea, the Oklahoma City Thunder don't have to be unreal on offense in order to win. Shai's going to give you his 30. J-Dub is going to give you his 18 to 22, and it'll probably be more than enough to get a win. I think experience is overrated, like Carlisle. Bill said all that matters is who is alive or not, or something like that. Cherokee Bill, from harder they fall. And Indy has shown that they run the Daytona offense that Obi used to exploit NCAA when he's on the court. Now you notice it towards the end of the Knicks series. Listen, man, we were blowing assignments. Like, this guy Obi Toppin literally set the pick and then slowly backpedaled to the three-point line, and not a single person on the Knicks reacted. Absolutely awful. Absolutely awful by my New York Knicks. Absolutely awful. I don't expect the Thunder to be giving them anything for free, so. Oh shit, we've been yapping for a minute on here. Holy shit, just talking about 2 teams. We've been yapping for a minute. But that's gonna do it for me for now, actually. I gotta get up out of here. The game is tomorrow night, right? I want to make sure this game is it's tomorrow night. Game's tomorrow night. You know what? Fuck it. I'll be live for the game tomorrow night, so we can watch the game tomorrow if y'all want to watch. But then I will be back on Friday so we could discuss the game in depth. Talk about who won, who lost, what happened, what didn't happen. We'll break down some film. But yeah, man, I really appreciate you guys as always for coming and hanging out. Before I get out of here, please like, comment, and subscribe. All that good stuff. It really helps the channel out. That's literally the day in offense. I ran that for my high school boys as well. You live stream the game. I'm a live stream tomorrow. So we'll watch the game tomorrow. We'll get to see, you guys can see what I'm thinking during the game. I get to see what you guys are thinking during the game. So we could do that. And then I'll be back here on Friday like I always am, you know, Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays. But I'll see y'all on Friday, man. Y'all have a great one. Y'all could have been anywhere on the internet, but y'all were here with me, and I appreciate you for that. Thank you so much. Thank you, Bruce. Thank you, Elijah. Thank you, Black Canadian, for hanging out. We got somebody new to the family. I appreciate y'all, man. I'll see y'all back here tomorrow and then on Friday. You have a good one, man. Peace.